If you're a smart person and you're still new to this life, you don't have much of experience, you haven't examined your life yet, you haven't examined the world around you, you're still ignorant, then you would probably believe in God. And let me guess, you're believing in the same God you grew up finding your parents having faith in. But then you learn more, you read more, you know more, then you'll stop believing in God again. And then you learn more, you read more, you know more, then you will start believing in God again, but in completely different version. You will be believing in different God. You see, my friend, this is the problem. If you were to ask most people, most religious people, to describe God for you, you will find them describing and saying everything, but something that's really irrelevant, to the cosmos. They would probably be describing like a high authority, a king, an invisible man living in the sky who's all powerful, all smart, all intelligent, doesn't need anything from you but your acknowledgement. And this guy is full of contradictions. The first one, before I say the first one, there is a really controversial opinion I've always had since my childhood. Like when I was 13, I was asking this question, even when I believed in God, when I was surrounded by my so religious people. Why all these assumptions that God is so good? Can he be evil? I had faith in him, but I was always wondering, he might not just be making fun of us at the end of this game. Why all these good assumptions? If he had free will, because if you ask them that God might be evil, they would say no, definitely no. Actually, you might be disowned by your own family if you say such thing in the middle of a dinner. But don't try it. And when I grew up searching about this question, I never asked anyone this question and I never shared it with anybody. I found out that there were actually a lot of people asking the same question. So I felt a little bit company. Now, all right, I'm not alone. I'm not alone here. But those people were wiped out from the planet long time ago by the religious people. So the first contradiction with the all-powerful, all-knowing, invisible man in the sky. It's all-powerful, all-knowing, doesn't need anything from you but your acknowledgement. So desperately demanding acknowledgement that if you lived your whole life trying to be a good person, kind to people, you never hurt anybody, but you did not acknowledge him, you did not believe in him, you did not worship him good enough, he will put you in hell for the eternity. That's how forgiven he is. That's a lot of mercy to take in. The second contradiction is that he's all good and all powerful. And if you were to argue with someone, how did you know that God is all good? They'll probably start by saying something, one day I was so sick. I prayed for God so hard, and finally he answered my prayers and I got recovered so fast. Or my father told me this story when he was young. He kind of had a lot of financial struggles. He worked so hard and he had faith and he kept praying to God. And then finally, God answered his prayers and he's financially good now, or he stopped struggling financially. Well, my friend, so what is your answer to all these earthquakes and tornadoes that come flattening an entire city full of innocent people, full of innocent families, mothers and children, people who are no different than me and you, people who had dreams, who had goals, who had a lot of plans for the future? They probably were better than me and you. And also, what do you think about the 25,000 people died today from hunger? And guess what? Most of them were children. And please do not tell me that God will reward them in the other life. Because for most religions, that if you were a good person, you'd have to worship the right God, so you can end up in heaven, not in hell. Let's put Christianity and Islam, for example. Most Christians and most Muslims believe that you have to acknowledge their God to end up in heaven, and God is all forgiven, all right? So let's say there's a Christian, you're a Muslim, and there's a Christian mother who's living in a very small town in a very isolated country that never heard about Islam. And she kept her whole life worshiping Jesus. She never hurt anybody. She was so good, taking care of her children, being good to the community, never hurt anybody, and being kind. This mother is not going to heaven. And the same thing actually if it was the other way around. If it was a Muslim mother and did not believe in Jesus. I'm not denying God for that, but God cannot be all powerful and all good. And if He's all good, He cannot be all powerful. So I'm not really denying this invisible man for him doing that, but I'm just trying to point out the contradiction. If Islam is right, or Christianity is right, or Judaism is right, it's fine. But you cannot tell me that God is all powerful and all good. There are a lot of weird religions out there. They are followed by a lot of decent people. If those people are going to hell, that means this God is not all good. You know, my man, when I got a little bit enlightenment, when I felt that, I understood how wrong this concept of religion is. I somehow felt that even if there is a God, I feel that this God deliberately found all these religions to confuse people and see who's going to be kind for those who do not. If you're really good at something, why so desperately trying to prove it? If you're really good at doing something, why so desperately trying to prove it? Does really this invisible man need some people to worship him? It's better to have a creature that just worship you, or a creature that question you. A creature that's always looking for you. As a creature, is it better to have a slave or something or some creature just silently worshiping you, or a man, a creature that's always questioning you, so interested about you, really wanna know you? Because there's a huge difference between the man-made God and the real God, the God that's really tied to the cosmos. Both of them completely irrelevant. If you had two sons, someone was just locked in and was so proud of you, kept his whole life by your side, telling you how proud and how he appreciated that you brought him to this life. And the other son just went out, experienced as much life as possible, tried a lot of things, learned a lot of things, helped a lot of people. Which son you will be proud of the most?